Hello, and welcome to Dark Teller. Today we travel back to one of the most mysterious, controversial, and tightly covered-up events of the 20th century, the 1947 Roswell UFO incident. A strange object crashes in the New Mexico desert. A military report confirms it, only to retract it hours later. For decades, this incident has been the subject of conspiracy theories, government denials, and public obsession. What really fell from the sky that day? And why has the US government worked so hard to cover it up? Let's uncover the full story, from eyewitness accounts to declassified files, and the unanswered questions that still haunt us today. 79 years ago, a remarkable and controversial event took place in the southwestern desert of the United States, long regarded as a hotbed of mysterious phenomena. An unidentified flying object, UFO, crashed near the town of Roswell, New Mexico. The US military initially issued a statement about the incident, but later retracted it. Since then, the event has remained shrouded in secrecy, fueling conspiracy theories that have lasted for decades. The US government has repeatedly insisted that this was merely a hoax or a fabricated story. The incident occurred during the first week of July 1947, involving the recovery of a crashed object by the military at a cattle ranch northwest of Roswell. Eyewitnesses, including 2 brigadier generals, confirmed that the recovered object was not of earthly origin. On January 12, 1994, artist Stephen Schiff, a representative of Roswell, told the press that the Department of Defense had intervened when he requested the release of related information on behalf of voters and witnesses. He found the department's silence astonishing and concluded that the incident had been covered up. Related to the event, multiple media projects were underway. A book was about to be published, a television drama was set to premiere, and a documentary was nearing completion. As a result, public doubt, controversy, and mistrust of the US government surrounding the Roswell incident continued to grow. At the end of June and into early July 1947, numerous reports of UFO sightings were recorded across the US and Canada, many from credible sources such as pilots and professional observers. One morning in early July 1947, Mac Brazel, a rancher in New Mexico, was checking on his sheep after a violent thunderstorm and discovered strange debris scattered over an area more than 100 meters long. Some fragments had unusual physical properties. He brought several pieces to show his neighbors before reporting the find to the local sheriff. Soon after, the military dispatched personnel to cordon off the site for several days and collected the debris. These materials were transported to Roswell Army Airfield and later flown via C-54 and B-29 aircraft to Wright Field in Dayton, Ohio. Colonel William Blanchard, commander of the 509th Bomb Group, issued a press release confirming the recovery of wreckage from an unidentified flying object. The announcement quickly spread to over 30 newspapers and made front-page headlines that day. However, just hours later, a second press release was issued by General Ramey's office at Fort Worth, over 700 kilometers from Roswell. This new statement contradicted the original, claiming that the debris was merely from a weather balloon. Ramey asserted that the 509th had made a mistake. Nonetheless, numerous witnesses maintained that this was a deliberate cover-up. Colonel Blanchard was known to be meticulous and serious, not prone to blunders. He would later be promoted to general and serve as Vice Chief of Staff of the U.S. Air Force. Lieutenant Colonel Jesse Marcel, the intelligence officer for the 509th, was one of the first to arrive at the scene. In a 1979 interview, he stated that the material they recovered was unlike anything on Earth. Extremely lightweight, thinner than cigarette foil, and impossible to cut or burn. Some of the debris included L-shaped beams etched with strange symbols resembling hieroglyphs. General Thomas DuBose, then Chief of Staff of the 8th Air Force, later confirmed he received orders from Washington to suppress the incident and create a diversion using the weather balloon story. At Wright-Patterson Laboratory, the debris underwent extensive physical testing. Some fragments could be torn, but many were extraordinarily strong and indestructible. Glenn Dennis, a funeral services provider at the Roswell base, received a call asking about small caskets and how to preserve bodies exposed to unusual environments. The caller expressed concern about possible chemical changes in the tissues. Dennis later confirmed the event, though he was threatened into silence. Other witnesses, including the local sheriff and his family, were ordered by the military to remain silent. Even Mac Brazel, the rancher who discovered the wreckage, was reportedly detained for nearly a week and released only after promising to keep quiet. Brazel's son later found and secretly stored several debris fragments in a cigar box, but these were also confiscated by the military. The Roswell incident raises a troubling question. Why didn't mainstream media pursue the story further? Some major newspapers initially reported the UFO claim, only to retract or revise their articles under military guidance. One explanation is human skepticism. People naturally resist anything that contradicts established beliefs. Additionally, UFOs have long been relegated to superstition, and few media outlets took them seriously. The CIA and other intelligence agencies refused to cooperate with investigations. Researchers invoking the Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, were often told, rendering them nearly useless. In 1976, presidential candidate Jimmy Carter promised to release all UFO-related records if elected. But once he assumed office, the matter was never raised again. So what is the U.S. government hiding? Are they afraid of causing public panic, religious upheaval, or diplomatic crises? Some believe they may have already made contact with an extraterrestrial civilization, and revealing that would be too much for society to handle. Whatever the reason, the Roswell incident, with its numerous witnesses, physical evidence, and conflicting accounts, cannot be ignored. Researchers believe that what humanity knows about the universe is but a grain of sand, and what we don't know is an entire ocean. Roswell isn't just a strange case, it's a gateway to questions we're still afraid to answer.